Brad, thanks for being with us today. So, react to the finance minister. Is his focus on condos justified?
Well, I think to some extent it is justified. There's no has had a good run, about 10 or 12 years of really positive results. And I think the tightening of the mortgage lending criteria is a good thing overall for Canada and for Canada's mortgage market.
Tell us, you were developing them, who will be impacted? How will the market react in real terms, in human terms?
Well, investors will not be affected at all by this move.
You're talking about it, like, particularly in Vancouver, we have a ton of folks from prices there. Is that what you mean?
Well, in general, in Vancouver, in Toronto, in Ottawa, in Montreal, all over Canada, there are people that are buying condominiums as investments. He talked about people who flip apartments.
Yeah.
That won't affect motives. When you buy a condominium from floor plans, you need to put 15 to 25% down. So amortization schedules and CMHC insurance don't really weigh in on that. This will affect the fringe buyer. For people to buy real estate in Canada, it's probably been a little bit too easy.
When you say fringe buyer, let's dive a little deeper. Are we talking about people that want that extra property, or are we talking about seniors that are looking to get out of the big house and move into something small? 26-year-old kids.
We're talking about first-time home buyers. We're talking about people between 20 and 40 years old that are trying to get into the market for the first time. This will definitely delay some people's decisions to be able to qualify to be able to get a mortgage. This will not really affect, the condominium market's very healthy in Toronto. This move won't affect the condominium market in really a negative way. It will pull a few buyers out of the system and make them wait. In Toronto with rentals, we have a real shortage of rentals in the city of Toronto. Only 470 apartments are currently available for rent in the entire city, condominium apartments. That's it.
So what will happen in terms like yours? Are you going to build less, develop less? I think I read something like there's 18,000 units being built this year. Is that going to slow down precipitously?
Well, this move won't change that. Listen, the finance minister and the Bank of Canada behind the scenes for months, 6 or 8 months, they've been actively meeting bankers and the CMHC, and so.
And sorry, we'll just finish that thought up. They've been meeting with them. What are they trying to do? Are they discouraging people?
They're actively discouraging banks from lending in the condo market.
Right.
Absolutely, and that has caused a bit of a slowdown. We're seeing that right now.
So, what happens next? I'm having a little trouble squaring some of the things you're saying. You're not unhappy about it, but obviously affect demand, yet it won't affect development. So put all that together for me.
Okay, well listen, so I'm in this for the long term. Overheated economies, overheated real estate markets aren't good for anybody. They're not good for me in the long term. So I like the idea will cool off the market a little bit. It will certainly not cause any bubble to burst or any large-scale problem in the city of Toronto. The market is already slowing down a bit, and it's a healthy slowdown. It's what we need.
Some of the critics of this move have come forward and said, this is the kind of thing where it's very difficult to move these dials precisely, and you may not like it. You may have actually overcompensated. Is any risk of that? You say no, but are you worried about the downside risk on that front?
We're not going to see any meaningful change in the.
Well, tell me more about that. You don't think prices are going to be affected? You don't think sales and movement are going to be affected?
No, I don't. I think prices are going to continue to rise in Canada until such time as we have a slowdown in the economy, which I don't see happening. For it to rise in a meaningful way, the real estate economy in Canada is going to continue to grow.
If that's the case, then is the fundamental rationale of the minister's policy change yesterday, which is to discourage household debt from rising, is that?
I think that the people on the fringe that really probably shouldn't be buying right now will not buy, and they'll probably continue to rent for a year or two, and that's a good thing. We don't want people to get into trouble with too much debt, especially when they're young. This is really a smart, prudent move. I agree wholeheartedly with what he's done. I think it's the right thing to do.
What comes next? This is, I think, the fourth adjustment that the minister's made in the last year or two. Are you expecting that? And if so, what would the next moves be? Because he's really moved that AM down quite a bit already.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more that he can do with the mortgage market. The next move would be to raise the minimum down payment from 5% perhaps to happening. So I think this is probably it. The next move will probably be interest rates rising. I think that's probably what we're looking at in the next year or two.
Just a quick last question. If you were to move that, and there have been people that have advocated moving that minimum down payment down market, would it not?
Yes, that would not be a good move at this point.
All right, Brad Lamb, thanks very much for decoding all this for us, telling us a little bit about the condo market in Toronto.
You're welcome.